Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Nice to be back with you streaming again. So, full disclosure, first things first, we are not on VATSIM tonight. Why are we not on VATSIM? Well, we're sort of doing a test flight of the iniBuilds A320neo, and the purpose of tonight's flight is to kind of see if we feel like it's VATSIM ready. I've seen a few content creators, one in particular, think that maybe it's not VATSIM ready and it caused an issue or two. So we're going to see for ourselves tonight and put this thing through its paces. And kind of what I want to see is it kind of up there with the fly-by-wire? I'm not expecting it to be Phoenix level, not by any stretch. You know, Phoenix, in my mind, you've kind of got Phoenix, you've got PMDG, and those two are kind of up there. One does Airbus, one does one does Boeing. And then you've kind of got the A320neo, which is in a little bit of a middle ground. You've obviously got the default one that we've had for the lifetime of the sim, which, yeah, it's a good place to start. Let's put it that way. But then you've kind of got other things like the fly-by-wire, and I kind of really feel like the fly-by-wire is sort of like the home of our kind of home aircraft, if you like that. It kind of started this channel in a lot of ways, the fly-by-wire, and you know we've got a lot to thank that plane for. It's quite incredible, really. So I'm curious to see if this can get anywhere near to the levels of fly-by-wire, because that really is an incredible aircraft for free. We should be very, very grateful that we have it. But equally, if we've got iniBuilds coming out with this that can kind of match it or equal it or get somewhere near it, that's great. And especially for console simmers, because of course they can't get the fly-by-wire. So if you're on an Xbox, it's it's a really good thing to consider. The other thing is, of course, this will be able to do RNAV approaches, and I believe it has missed approaches as well built into it, which the fly-by-wire does not. So it's got that going for it. It's just, does anything else let it down along the way? That's what we're going to find out. So it's a bit of a test flight tonight. Like I said, we're not on VATSIM. I don't really want to be... I always like to take an aircraft for a flight off of VATSIM, especially a new aircraft, before we go onto VATSIM, so I don't think it's fair to really mess other people around or mess controllers around. I don't want to cause a nuisance. I'm enough of a nuisance on my own, never mind with a plane causing problems as well. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to the flight. Obviously, we are in an easyJet livery because I haven't yet made the AirNOTT livery for this plane, and depending on how this kind of flight goes, I guess will inform whether I decide to put in the effort to make the livery and sort of bring it into the fleet for people to fly. Who have we got in tonight then? We've got Aaron, we've got Met Monkey, we've got Musical Fantasy, and Mayday Fly. Hello to you all. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming. Thanks very much for coming. I'm glad to be flying though. It's been a bit of a rubbish day. My kid's been sick, so I haven't really been able to do any work on the channel today, which I normally would. I've just been basically sat looking after a poorly child, so it's nice to come out and do a bit of flying with you all. So I'm very much looking forward to this. So let's hop in and we will see if we can get this plane started, push back, and oh, what's going on here? Why is it so judgy? I had this earlier. Okay, that's thing number one I don't like. The way I fixed it, as daft as it sounds, I went into settings and I switched VSync on. I wonder will turning VSync off fix it. Yeah, okay, so that's the second time that's happened in this plane. Right, I don't know why that is. I'm guessing maybe a bug. That was weird. It happens when I go from the outside view to the inside view. See if it does it again. Why is it doing that? Yeah, it's doing it again, look. Maybe that's frame generation causing problems. So now if we go VSync on, yeah, it's fine again. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Okay. Alright, so what have I done so far? I've turned on the batteries and I've turned on the external power, and I've imported our flight into the EFB from SimBrief, and I've gone into the init page onto here and I've imported it as well. So that's all I've done. So I haven't really gotten very fast. So let's put in our flight number today, which is, I'm going to keep saying AirNOTT 121. It's Easy 121. Cost index of 8. And we're coming out of runway 25. Okay, let's get our navs on. 1, 2, 3. On the emergency lights, no smoking on. Black roll oxygen crew supply. Other than that, we're not doing bad. 8 minutes for the IR alignment, that's fine. Gives us a chance to have a little chat. Let's, while we're waiting, have a look at our route. So we're using runway 25 out of Luton. This is the iniBuilds Luton for anyone wondering, and we're using the only 2 Bravo departure. There we go, so that's us, runway 25. Up we go. Keen to see how the autopilot systems work, because of course this does have VNAV, doesn't it? Which is cool. Let's have a quick look at the chart for that. There we go. So we need to be between 4,000 and 5,000 feet at where are we here? D6. And then 5,000, 6,000, and we need to be at 6 by only. That's fine. That's all fine. Transition altitude 6,000. That's all looking good. What about into Belfast? Okay, missed approach, let's pay attention to that because we may need it. Continuous climb to 3,000, initially straight ahead. Turn right. Initially straight ahead to 2,500, then turn right to VOR to hold at 3,000 as directed. Sorry. Okie dokie. Good. So cruising at flight level 380. And let's go to our payload. And we can enter that from SimBrief, hopefully. Why is it not doing that? I thought it would do that. SimBrief waits requested. Okay. Hey, Christos. Just waiting for the weights to populate from SimBrief. I'm not sure why it's... I'd expect it to just do it. I don't know if I'm being unreasonable in that presumption. Alright, let's do it ourselves. 166. Passengers. Cargo is 2158. Fuel is 4722. 4722. That's better. Yeah, long time no see indeed. Not sure why the plane didn't do that. Not sure why the plane didn't auto-populate. That's a bit weird. Because we're connected, like we go onto our dashboard, we are connected. It's pulled in our flight number, it's got our alternate, it's got our departure, it's got it knows what's going on. Yet over here, over here, I didn't really want to. If I just pull that down, click it again, will it do it? Doesn't seem to want to, does it? I guess we'll do it ourselves. Okay, 166, let's click on apply load. I will do it instantly because we're lazy today. From my experience, which is better on FPS, iniBuilds or fly-by-wire? I don't know. This is my first proper flight in it, so we can have a look at the FPS though, see what's going on. Getting around 45 here on the ground. This is in the iniBuilds, so take that for what it's worth. Obviously frame gen will be doubling that up to nearer to 90, which is fine. Alright, what about our takeoff weight? Unable to find safe performance data. What? Okay, we've got runway 25. There we go. Let's send that to the flight management system. Hopefully that's gone across. Oh, nice, you can just click them and they do it. Fuel planning. Ah. Okay, that's good, I think. Alright, let's go to Perth and oh, right, I see. So you've got these values here, 130, 130, 134. That is from over here, 130, 130, 134, flex 48. So it's kind of got these here as like placeholders, so we can now confirm takeoff data, and that puts it in. Nice. I don't understand how to calibrate my throttle to the iniBuilds. Can anyone help? Yeah, I can probably help you. What you need to do is come over to settings, then go to open throttle settings at the bottom, then begin calibration. I'll do it. I'll put my yoke cam on. Yeah, see it then. So begin calibration. It says set maximum reverse thrust, so I'll do that. So we'll click set max, then set idle, which I'll put about there. Annoyingly, my right throttle wants to just nudge up a little bit. Set idle reverse, set idle thrust, set idle, set climb. Now my climb gate has moved because I've done the 3D printing detents. Set flex. We've got toga. There we go. And that should be it. I hope. We'll soon find out. Alrighty. Let's go to our flight plan out of Luton, departing runway 25 on the only 2 Bravo. We'll transition at Oni. It's all good. Into Belfast, we are doing ILS 25 straight in, no messing around. Why is that flickering? Okay, it's happy now. I think we're going to get bits and pieces like that during the flight. I mean, it's new. It's going to happen. So let's just step through the route. So out of Luton, turn the corner, up we go to Olney, making our way over. What? Let's zoom out a touch there, shall we? Okay, so it wants us to go to the airfield, up and around, do a teardrop back. Yeah, that's fine, we'll do that. That I can do, and we've got the missed approach, which is nice. That is nice. So that's something that it has over the fly-by-wire, which is really cool. Really cool. And of course it can do RNAV approaches. I think that's coming to fly-by-wire, but this can do it out of the box. So, yeah, swings and roundabouts. Whoa, Thomas, with the €10. Have a good flight. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thomas, you're continuously so generous to the channel. Honestly, it's so amazing. Thank you for the support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Alright, so we've done progress. Not progress, we've done performance. Done our init. Done our flight plan. Dare I say it? Be ready to go in a minute. Let's get the APU started. Give it a few seconds. Hit the start switch. And we'll wait for that to become available. Doesn't feel great not being on VATSIM, not going to lie, but I don't really want to take this one on VATSIM and have problems and not be quite sure what to do in certain situations. I'd rather just get a flight off of VATSIM in the books, feel confident in it, do a flight from point A to point B. Oh, it's doing it again. Why is it doing that? As soon as you go outside and come back in, it just goes really, really weird. And now it's okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. That's kind of weird and kind of annoying, but whatever. QNH is 1008. Is it going to be that Phoenix? Yes, it is. Going to do both sides. I'm sure we can probably link them in the setting, much like we can with the Phoenix. Yeah, good call, Christos. After the throttle calibration. So, what's going on down here? This is a different panel to what I'm used to seeing in the fly-by-wire and the Phoenix. Predictive wind shear on. Alright, APU bleed. Let's get the fuel pumps on. Seatbelt on, beacon light on. Get 6,000 in the window. Now, can GSX push us back? Let's get rid of our ground power, shall we? Is GSX going to know what to do? This is a new plane. I haven't updated GSX in some time. If I'm honest, I kind of forgot. Oh no.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Just gone outside again, haven't I? Okay, no outside views for the rest of the flight. What is it doing that? It's so annoying. Desync on. Now it's happy. What is going on with that?
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Let's see if it actually does push us back. Hey, it's alright, Adam. There's no need to apologise. I've been busy too. I haven't been streaming as much. So, if anyone should be apologising, it's probably me for that. Still, it's nice to see you anyway. Hope you're doing alright. I've kind of moved to evening times mostly for streaming now as well. So the old daytime routes are less of a thing. We're also doing this flight on New Sky, just for anyone that is interested. With a... Oh, I don't need to go. I want to go nose right, facing safe.
Release parking brakes, please.
Releasing brakes.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Okay, so pushback seems to be working nicely from GSX. Alright, let's put the engines into ignition. And let's start engine 1. There it goes. Huh, it's gone weird again. Why does it keep doing that? Yes, I would like to start the flight New Sky. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, look, it's gone weird again. Alright, next thing to try
Please set parking brakes.
is turning off frame gen, because I've got a sneaky suspicion frame gen has got something to do with this. Okay, engine 2. Sorry, Alibi, but that's how I get paid, mate. We've tried it with VSync on and VSync off, and seems to keep happening. But frame gen... Let's turn off VSync now. Frame gen is off. You're right, actually. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Alright, let's get our taxi lights on. Gonna tell GSX to bog off.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Engine 2 is available. APU bleed off. APU off. It's weird though because I haven't had this problem in any other plane, it's just tonight I've had the issue, and it only happens if I change view. If I'm in the cockpit, I'm fine. If I go to an outside view,
Unlocking gear.
And back in, we had the problem, but now frame gen is off, we don't have the problem. So I think that's a frame gen bug. I really do. First time I've seen that. It's weird. What monitor am I using? I'm using a TV actually. It's just
Truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
What is it? It's an LG 43-inch
Left is clear.
4K
Right is
60
clear.
Hertz TV. Nothing particularly fancy. Yeah, the sort of thing you can pick up for, well, I don't know what they are now, probably like 300 quid. Which, you consider what TVs used to cost years ago for like a 28-inch CRT. Pretty good. Not bad indeed. Right, we need to set our flaps for takeoff. Check out my new 3D printed flap lever. This is mainly for the Boeings because I've got this little load of detents in here. So if I want to do flaps 30, I can sort of lift, pull it into flaps 30 rather than trying to guess where it is. But it still retains all of the positions of the Airbus as well. So we'll go flaps 1. Flippin' love that 3D printer. Oh, you saying it looks huge in the little yoke cam thing? Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit on the big side, I'll give you that. Alright, QNH is set. Flight directives are set. Initial altitude is set. Auto brake will set to max. Cabin is happy. Takeoff config normal. Jolly good. Taxi lights are on. Right, let's have a taxi. So we're going to go via... let me show you. Let me show you. Come down via Bravo. And then make a left onto Alpha. And then runway 25 just up here. We could backtrack. I had an instruction the other day. I think that was it on Beyond ATC? They told me to backtrack, and I was like, what? But then someone in the chat does actually fly out of Luton. They're like, yeah, they do backtrack, so maybe we will backtrack and do a flex takeoff. That'd be cool. Right, let's go. Parking brakes off. And yeah, that's what I thought would happen. So the Neo, much like the IAE engines on the Phoenix with idle thrust, you do almost like an automatic car, kind of get that creep forward. Test the brakes. Very good. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with all that weird stutteriness. That definitely feels like a frame gen sort of bug, but one that I've only experienced in this plane, which is a bit weird. Maybe I'll have to test it out on another plane later just to make sure that something else hasn't changed and it's not just exclusive to this plane. Definitely not the same, is it? When you're not on VATSIM. I do miss it a lot. There's a certain kind of pressure that you feel, but it's a good pressure. Oh, you're getting it too, Ed? Weird. Yeah, normally I do frame gen on, VSync off, but it's just, for whatever reason, flicking VSync on and off, regardless of which state it was in when the problem reoccurs, cleared it. That was the only reason we were messing with VSync in the sim earlier. It's the car park, isn't it? That's the one that caught fire. Alright, and then left onto Alpha. Curious to see how this thing hand flies. Really nice airport though from iniBuilds, this one. Nice one to have on the books. Oh, a little bit of terraforming needed there, I think. So should we backtrack? Can anyone else see that dot? If I park here, if you look at the yellow line, is there a little like black flickering dot? I see that on OBS. Or is it my TV? Weird. You can see it. Okay, Rob, it's not. I thought I might have had like a dead pixel. I can't see it in my OBS preview. My OBS is too small. That's a shame. That would have been a nice excuse to have bought a new TV. Looks like quite a headwind we're going to have as we take off. Look at that windsock. Alright, let's backtrack and then we'll do a flex takeoff. When should you switch QNH to standard? Well, that would depend on where you're flying. Normally here in the UK it's 6,000 feet, but in America it's often 18,000. Occasionally you might find it's 5,000. Check the charts, that'll tell you. Here we go. Here's our little backtrack area. At least this will give us a chance to get a feel for the rudder pedals at least. I'd like to get Leeds Bradford next. I think that would be a cool one to have. Alright. Get lights set for takeoff. Should have done the strobe really before we came out on the runway, but we're not on VAT sim, so who cares? We can enjoy ourselves today. Good. Start the clock. And let's hold it on the brakes. Let's set thrust. And we've got a thrust takeoff set. Just give it toga. Not happy with that. Felt a little bit on the slow side there, didn't it? Okay, V1, rotate. Up and away. Positive rate. Gear up. Not sure why the nav keeps redrawing that line. I guess that's a bit of a bug. So let's follow the flight directors. Just see what happens. Levers are in climb. Alright, so far so good. Okay, let's retract flaps. So far it's gone flying quite nicely, I would say. Okay, so we've got an altitude constraint here of 4,000 feet. Sorry, 5,000 feet, my bad. Alright, 5,000 feet we need to level off at. See if we can just hand fly this SID, or at least the next few waypoints anyway, because there's going to be a big one where we just have to be at 6,000 feet for like ages, which doesn't sound like much fun to me. Look at that, looking good. So another right turn coming up. Maintaining the altitude nicely, just by following the flight directors there. Alright, pretty good. Let's turn on the let's just see how that handles things. So we've got speed in managed, heading in managed. We've got it in a pretty good position where it can just take over without much drama. It's pretty good. So our next waypoint, Delta 3440, we can be at 6,000 feet. But once we cross this next one, Delta 344 India. Yeah, and then the plane's going to start its climb again to 6,000. Happy days. Why are we speeding though? Shouldn't be speeding in autopilot, should we? Especially as we're climbing. So that's one potential drawback there. Good, so if we now set our cruise, what was it? 380. If I set the cruise to 380, then do a managed climb. It shouldn't do a thing, should it? And it's not. Because the plane knows that we've got a restriction of flight level 060, so 6,000 feet, and we need to stay at 6,000 feet until we get to Olney, which is when we end our SID. At which point, the plane should then start climbing. And take us up to 380. Hopefully, that's the plan anyway. Keep an eye on it, see how it goes. How far is it to Olney? 10 miles. Good. Sorry, I've not really been paying much attention to chat. I was focusing there on hand flying out of Luton. Pixel! Pixel, are you the same Pixel that used to come into the channel ages ago? Or is it just a massive coincidence there's two of you called Pixel? Definitely sounds a lot better than the Asobo and fly-by-wire A320. Yeah, that's interesting because that's some of the criticism that I've heard other people say is that the sounds aren't very good, which is interesting. Probably, Pixel says. Did you used to have an RTX 3050? Ti maybe. If you did, then you're probably the same one. Do I use RTX Vibrance? Not currently. Okay, two people, same name then. Someone else called Pixel. Anyway, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. For those wondering, we have wound back the time a little bit just so we have something nice to look at on the way. Let's just pump the sound up a bit, see what the actual sounds are like. Move to the engine. Yeah, I've got to admit, my personal view so far is that maybe the sounds aren't the best on this one. Right, standard pressure. I don't know though. I mean, I recently flew on a Neo in real life from Rhodes, and we took obviously an old school, CEO as they're called now, out to Rhodes. And when we took off, it made a heck of a racket. Speeding again. Why is it speeding again? Stop it. What if I give it a hard limit, like an explicit limit of 250? Will it keep to it then? Okay, so this plane likes to speed is what we found out so far. Right, 10,000 feet. Lights off. Let the passengers Out. I think we already were allowed out. My bad. But yeah, one thing I noticed on the Neo was just how much more quiet and graceful the aircraft was, especially on the takeoff roll. Like it, quite similar to the sounds we heard. Yeah, I mean, it is early days, isn't it? It is early days. Alright, let's put our speed back into managed. Oh, Tommy, I had this on the A300. What on earth was it? What on earth was it? Oh man, that's going to annoy me now. I had exactly the same thing. I'd go through the whole cold and dark procedure, start the engines, I'd go to push the throttles just a tiny bit for taxi and the whole thing would go dead. What was it? It was a key binding somewhere. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was a key binding. Oh, I know what it was. Go in the settings, go into your controls and check for like a fuel mixture sort of thing. I'm sure you've got another. You've got your throttles bound to something else. That's what it is. Yeah, I think it must be because the A300 was an iniBuilds plane, and I had the same issue with that. So I think that's probably what it is, Tommy. Hey Gerald, a bit late to the stream. What's it like to fly compared to the fly-by-wire? Well, so far we've just flown out of Luton and we hand flew it, and it felt nice. So we haven't landed it yet, so... I am using the same sensitivities on this as I do for the Phoenix as well. So Phoenix recommended some sensitivities for light joysticks such as the TCA stick that I'm using from Thrustmaster. So I figured I would just stick with that for this and see how that goes. But yeah, so far it's okay. It's wanted to speed a couple of times, like we were just climbing and yeah, oversped. So seems like it's quite slippery. Evening commentator, just watched your video on the TCA mods for the Boeing. I very much want to do them. I need to order myself one of those printers or get them ordered. Nice. Where did you get the spring from the Boeing flat mod? Hang on. Where did I put it? Here they are. Let me turn on my yoke cam. I ordered this, which is a spring assortment box from Amazon. I don't know entirely what spring it was I used, because there's loads of them in here. So it comes, when you open the box, you kind of get like a little guide. And I use, what did I use? I used SPE 0402, which is a 0.4 by 4 by 15 millimeter spring. One of, come on, one of these. If the camera can focus on it, which I don't think it can. Teeny tiny little spring. Yeah, I had to spend like 12 quid on a box of springs just to get the one spring I actually wanted. But at least I have spares, I suppose. Yeah, it seems alright so far, Gerald. I like I said, it just wanted to speed away a little bit from us. Like I say, we're at like 260 knots when we had a limit of 250 and we were climbing, so it seemed unusual to me that it would speed while climbing. You'd think that's one of the easiest times to not speed. Commentator, yes, I have, and it's really good. Really, really good. And the nice thing was I didn't have to actually change anything in terms of, you know, settings or anything, because you kind of got these little detents all the way down, and they're not detents, like little kind of slots for the little lug to fit into. And flaps 30 is kind of here, so you literally just lift it. Obviously I won't do it now because we're in flight, but what's nice is they still align with the Airbus ones, so I've got like flaps 1 there, 2, 3, 4, and all the little slots align perfectly, so it's really nice. It's really, really nice. And I know it's not like pure Airbus anymore, neither is it pure Boeing, but that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm really not interested in replicating an A320 or replicating a 737. What I want is a setup that can go to any plane. Like, we've got the yoke for yoke stuff, we've got the side stick over here for days like today, and we've got this, and while it's got Airbus written all over it and it's in Airbus blue and all of that stuff, I couldn't care less, frankly, as long as all the switches do what I want them to do. You know, it could say Cessna on it, make no difference. I did kind of go down the route of thinking that, oh, maybe I could, especially now with the 3D printer, start thinking, oh, maybe I could 3D print something to like go up here and, you know, put a mini FCU up there or something and start building out all this stuff. And you just know that the minute you turn the final screw and it's like completed and you've made a little Airbus cockpit, I just know, or I would anyway, I just know that I'm going to be like, yeah, but what about Boeing? Then you just have like a damn it moment and you have to start all over again for Boeing. So I'm more about making something that can just, you know, Boeing, Airbus, MD-11 when that comes out, whatever. Just I want a setup that can fly more or less anything. Aviation Gaming Inc. Hey, it's me. I asked you something for Carson, yes. Oh, you mean Batsim, is that also correct? I do remember you, yeah. Were you also in Captain Canada's stream yesterday? I'm fairly certain I saw you in the chat there. I was lurking. I wasn't active in the chat yesterday, but I was watching the stream. I'm sure I saw you in there. You were. I was right. Yeah, I messaged you earlier, didn't I, saying try observer mode. That's how I got started. Plans to try your controls in a shared cockpit on Batsim? Yeah, I've heard about that. I think given the fact I would stream, I would have to really trust the other person I was doing it with. Because if they were to start mouthing off, they could ruin everything for me, you know what I mean? There's a couple in my Discord that I would consider doing it with, I think. I've sort of known them for a while now. What's going on with all that tiling on the ground down there? Discord is channel members only at the moment. Not many of us in there, but it's small but perfectly formed, is how I would describe it. No, it doesn't have a cabin, but isn't there like a download that you can do to get it? So by default it doesn't have a cabin. Hiya Travis! Doing well, thank you very much. Alright, top of climb, then how far is top of descent? I've got about 70 odd miles. Right, so what's the weather doing in Belfast? So runway 25 is what we've got planned. Wind is 300 at 15. Okay. So, yeah. Coming at us almost at a diagonal with it. That's okay. Cheers, aviation. See you in a bit. Yeah, not entirely sure how the landing's going to go. New plane, new feel. I'm more interested to see how it behaves on the descent. Also, are you good friends with Captain Canada? No, we don't know each other. I mean, I watch the streams, but I think he's a good guy, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he knows I exist, so that's fine. I was looking at flights and hotels to FS Expo. Just out of curiosity, I'm not actually going to go, but I did think to myself, if I were to go, what would it cost? Flipping heck. It's not cheap. I found a flight from Gatwick to Vegas with, who was it with? I think it was BA. I think that was like £680. And the expo is at the Rio Hotel and Casino in Vegas. And the room there, if I was to arrive on... oh. What just happened? Oh, out of fuel tank cross speed. Fine. Good job, man. Good job. I'm rooting for you. Fun fact, just to rename a parking stand name in a GSX profile, for example, parking 1 to gate 1A, you have to do it in Python, which is not part of the GSX airport editor. Oh, good fun. God, I haven't coded Python in years. Isn't Python where the syntax is derived from your indentation, so if you don't indent properly it won't compile? Don't watch you much, but it'd be cool to see you do EHAM to EGKK with the Phoenix A320. Yes, I did it once. There's a video on the channel if you scroll back through them. I did it once on a 737 on VATSIM. It's my second ever VATSIM flight. It's probably a mistake looking back on it, but yeah, Hassan, I'd be inclined to agree. I think I'd be inclined to agree. But you please yourself, aviation gaming. It's an open house. That'll be the Isle of Man. Pixel. So in a lot of programming, you'll say code something, and then the next line, if the line above it is kind of like a wrapper to it, you would sort of use the tab key to indent your code a little bit. And it makes no difference to whether the code will compile. It's just like a visual thing, and having like standardized looking code. Different companies will have different guidelines on how code should be indented. But Python, you must indent in a certain way because it actually uses the indentation as part of the language itself. So if you don't indent properly, it won't compile. But yeah, if you're just editing stuff, it won't matter. Ah, right. Oh, my chair's almost falling to pieces here, but that's fine. Right, when it's top of descent, that can't be far off. Top of descent is in 35 miles by the look of it. Check destination data. Very well, we shall. Okay, QNH is 1010, 300. 15. Okay, 1010, 300 and 15. Right, what's the weather doing? Temperature is 9 degrees. Let's just bring the charts up because we need to get our minimums. I can see there's some messages in chat. I will be right with you. I promise. Right. Refer to minimums. Okay, where are the minimums? At the bottom here. Decision height 50. 50 seems a bit low. We'll do 386 in the Barrow. Or 368. Gives us a bit of time. Good, top of descent in 14 miles. Hey, I've been watching you for a while, but this is the first stream I've been able to catch, and you fly into your home airport. Oh man, no pressure. Don't be expecting a nice landing now, will you? Because this is a new plane. And I've been sucking a bit lately at flight sim, not gonna lie. I've just not been doing enough flying. I've gone through a period where I've been making loads of content around it, but I haven't actually been doing the flying, and it is amazing how quickly you start to suck if you don't fly often. The axe can get quite dull quite quickly, is what I found. But hey, it's great that you're able to catch a stream. I've changed from morning times to this time of day. I used to stream kind of like 9:30 AM, and that was a problem because once I started to stream on VATSIM, it's like you just end up on Unicom the whole time. So it's a tricky one. Albeit, obviously I appreciate we're not on VATSIM tonight, but that is an intentional choice because we are flying a new plane, and whenever I get a new plane, the first flight in it, I don't want to do that on VATSIM. I feel like I need to get one in the books, point A to point B, cold and dark, try and do it all properly, and see if it, you know, gets there in one piece, or if I get it there in one piece, rather. Did you want to kick me in the Captain Canada stream? Be honest. I would have kicked must indeed out of that stream. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't really paying much attention to the chat other than I saw your name was in it. I didn't really see what you were saying. So far, in your opinion, how does it compare versus the fly-by-wire and the Phoenix? I've not taken her out of the hangar yet. Yeah, James, it's a funny one. We were saying as we were at the gate at Luton, I'm not expecting it to be anywhere near Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is like, you know, top draw stuff, really, isn't it? It's like, it's up there with PMDG. You got Phoenix that take care of Airbus. You got PMDG that take care of Boeing. In my mind, they're very, very, very similar. Top of descent coming up, actually. I will just put in 3,000 for now as a managed. But so far it feels quite similar to the fly-by-wire, I would say. Quite similar. The advantages to me that it has over the fly-by-wire is that it can do an RNAV approach where the fly-by-wire cannot in its current default state. And it has missed approaches built in, which the fly-by-wire does not. Now, the fly-by-wire could change all that, of course. I've got no doubt that they are. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. I kind of feel like we're about to see if it's how it's going to go on this descent now, because look, you can learn a lot about a plane on its descent if you try and get it to manage it itself. So throttles are at idle. It's trying to descend 3,400 feet a minute, which is quite a steep descent, really. It's just trying to get that green dot back in the middle here so we're on profile. Then when it gets there, I'm presuming the descent rate's going to ease up. Yeah, 2,900, 2,800, 2,700. What's going on with the speed? Because we have a headwind as well, so that's kind of in our favour. What's an RNAV approach? An RNAV approach is for all intents and purposes, quite similar to an ILS. However, the plane isn't being guided by the radio frequencies being broadcasted from the end of the runway. Instead, it's more like the plane is using its own sort of GPS navigational systems to work out where it is relative to the glide path, based on, you know, GPS, etc. Okay, so that speed is creeping up, isn't it? Up and up and up. Feels like quite a slippery airplane, I would say, this. And we had this on the climb out of Luton. It started to overspeed. Okay, now we're turning. Do I need to give it any speed brake? That's the question. Does seem like quite a steep rate of descent. No, Pixel, I haven't. It would be fun to try that though. Okay, so we are now wildly off profile. Why has that happened? Why has that happened? Because there's nothing in this flight plan that tells me that that should be a problem. Okay, now it's coming back. Oh, damn it. Sorry, Jack. Thanks for saying. Muppet. Sorry about that. Bonus points to Jack. Alright, so that's more of a normal descent rate, I would say, about 2,000 feet per minute. I've never used the CWS buttons in the 737, only use CMD for autopilot. Just reading about it now, actually, what the differences are. In CMD command mode, the autopilot has full control of the aircraft and receives its input from either the heading or altitude setting, radio and nav aids, or the flight management system. In CWS mode, the pilot controls the autopilot through inputs on the yoke or stick. That'll be why I've never used CWS mode then. Yeah, an option, this is on Wikipedia, an option between fully automated flight and manual flying is CWS, control wheel steering, although it's becoming less used as a standalone option in modern airliners. Generally, an autopilot that is CWS equipped has three positions: off, CWS and CMD. In CMD command mode, the autopilot has full control of the aircraft, we just read that bit, In CWS mode, the pilot controls the autopilot through inputs on the yoke or the stick. These inputs are translated to a specific heading and attitude, which the autopilot will then hold until instructed to do otherwise. This provides stability in pitch and roll. Some aircraft employ a form of CWS even in manual mode, such as the MD-11, which uses a constant CWS in roll. I didn't know that. In many ways, a modern Airbus fly-by-wire aircraft in normal law is always in CWS mode. Happy days. Well, so far, we're doing alright, aren't we? We're maintaining speed reasonably well. We're maintaining profile. I mean, I can't complain so far. Can't complain at all. I tried an auto land in this aircraft and I have to say it's very similar to the Phoenix. That's good news. How do I like the changes I've made to my throttle quadrant? I absolutely adore it. So good. I think the next thing is to maybe do something with my speed brake lever. It'd be nice to have the off position so that the lever is just down a small bit, then to arm it, I can just push it all the way back. Because obviously you can't lift it like you can in the actual planes. How was a day in Europe on the flight sim? I rolled the time back. Kind of figured it's better that we have something nice to look out of the window. If we go to real time, well, I don't know, that's not too bad, is it? It's very dingy in Luton, so I was keen to. I don't really like landing in the dark either. Not very good at it. Let's see if we can get down before the sun goes down, shall we? How far have we got to go? We can probably take a shortcut, can't we, if we go direct to CF25. No point making work for ourselves, is there? Seeing as we're not on that sim, we've got the power to do what we want. Where does it want us at CF25? 2,500. We can do that. We are, however, speeding. Why are we speeding so much? I guess because I changed the route, it's now got less time to do what it wanted to do. Yes, Jack. I've done some live streams of Say Intentions. I've done a video with Say Intentions. I intend to do another video of Say Intentions. Brian and the team over at Say Intentions have given me access to the software, which is really nice of them. So yeah, we'll be doing some content on that, rest assured. What I'm tempted to do is to do a video where I do the same flight with Beyond ATC and then do it exactly the same flight immediately afterwards with say intentions and almost run them side by side. Because the last time I streamed with say intentions was a while ago. Well, not a while ago, maybe a few weeks back, 2 or 3 weeks ago. The last video I made with say intentions was even further ago, and the thing is they're iterating so quickly that a video, 2 videos 1 month apart could be wildly, wildly different. So I kind of feel like it's something, and the same with Beyond ATC, it's just something that I want to just keep checking in on them and seeing what they're up to. Because 1 week to the next can yield massive differences. Alright, 10,000 feet, let's get some lights on the go, shall we? Alright, transition altitude is 6,000 feet. Not bad. And it is still 1010. I think what we'll do, we'll take manual control from FF25. We'll get round the corner at Charlie Foxtrot 25. Yeah, see the plane is speeding again. I'm not sure why it is, because we're only descending at 2,500 feet per minute. It was a little bit on the slippery side. We got our speed brakes out. Speed brakes away. Just curious, what's the button above the nav display brightness knob? You mean this one? That is the, is it, what do they call it? GPWS, is it? You see that flash when it says like, you know, terrain, pull up, whenever it yells at you, that kind of thing. Glide slope, if you're coming in a bit too low. Oh, I want to hand fly it. I want to see what it feels like. Okay, let's get the landing system on. That's good. I can see we can just about pick up the ILSs. Go to our RadNav page. Oh. That's interesting. Thought that'd be pre-populated, but it seems to not be. 109.9. Why is that not populated then, I wonder? Right, let's go into standard pressure, 1010. A little bit late doing that because I was fiddling with the all this. I'm going to leave that alone for the minute and hope that these two come to life. Alright, let's go flaps 1. There it is. And we will enable approach mode. that speed down. Definitely feels like a bit of a slippery airplane, this. It feels like it's just that little bit... a little bit on the speedy side.
2,500.
2,500 feet on the radio altimeter at least. It is. Speed brakes away, flaps 3. Okay, approach mode. Flaps full. Almost said flaps 40 then, but of course it's not. Let's see what the plane wants to do. Okay, well that's not right, is it? What's going on here then? Okay, so now it will let me put in an ILS frequency, 109.9. Won't let me type it. What's going on? Not loving this. Okay, let's just make a turn. We'll have another go. Good point, Mackie, yeah. Why is the ILS not tuning? Normally in all the A320s I've flown, just simply putting in the flight plan is enough. So we've got ILS. And the course is 247. Let's let the plane take this air again while I try and fix this. ILS/frequency. What do I type in ILS/frequency? I've forgotten. So I've got IAG on the chart, 109.9. Let's do that. IAG/109.9. Okay, let's do a teardrop. Type IAG. Just IAG should do it, yeah. Ah, there it goes. Now it's done it. It's weird. So that's interesting. I've never, ever, ever had to do that in the fly-by-wire, the default, or the Phoenix. It's always auto-populated it based on choosing the ILS from the flight plan on the arrival. So the question then is, which one is correct? Thank God for the Navigraph charts. That's what I was looking at for those interested that got me out of trouble there. Yeah, it's a weird one, that. Has anyone else had that? It's never managed to auto-tune the ILS for me. Is that when you say it's never managed, you mean the iniBuilds? Okay. Maybe it's just an iniBuilds thing, maybe that'll get rectified. Still, pretty nice view that, isn't it? Alright, gear down. Flaps full, spoilers armed. Why are we all the way over here? We'll continue with that landing checklist in just a momento. Tell you what, let's just hand fly it from here, shall we? This is a good, jolly good opportunity to hand fly, isn't it? Let's do auto brake medium. So if we recycle the landing system, is that going to... Here it comes. It does feel quite nice to hand fly. There's nothing that's like obviously like wrong about it. Oops. Okay, here comes a glide path. Let's see if we can get ourselves settled. How's it going to feel on the rudder pedals? That's the question. Not sure what the flight directors are telling me to do. They want me somewhere completely different, don't they? If I was to follow the flight directors, I'd be heading out to sea, I think. Or into that lake, rather. Oh dear. Fuel left wing tank level low. If no fuel leak and fuel crossfeed on. Should have enough to get down. I'm not going to bother with that right now. Not on final. We seem to be holding the ILS glide path quite nicely. I need to get a little bit over to the right, and the ILS would certainly agree, I think. Nose down. Really feel like I've got to keep that nose being pushed down. It's one way it feels like it differs from the Phoenix a little bit. I feel like you've really got to be constantly be like, oi, nose down, come on. Keep that nose down. There we go again, that 3 whites again. Just got to keep that pressure on. Here we go then, 400 feet. Nose down, come on, it just wants to, its nose, it feels like its nose wants to come up constantly.
300.
Come on, nose down, again, there it goes.
200.
Of course, the wind isn't helping the situation either, is it? Not really.
100.
Alright, how are the rudder pedals going to fare?
Minimum.
Continue.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Oh, down you
10.
go. Down you go.
Retard.
No.
Retard.
No, thank you.
Retard.
Let's go around. Gear up. Don't fancy that. Still, gives us an opportunity to follow the missed approach. So that is a feature that this plane has that the fly-by-wire does not. Okay, now it's whinging that we don't have enough fuel. Fuel crossfeed on. Where do we have to go for that? Crossfeed on. Yeah, the low fuel thing's a bit weird because we're using what SimBrief told us to use. So I'm surprised to see that we've got a low fuel warning. Alright.
2,500.
That's right, we'll have another go. More landing experience, isn't it? Yeah, it was the wind, I think, that threw us off, and also, I don't know, the rudder pedals felt a bit weird as we were coming in, so I need to maybe give it a little bit more rudder pedal than perhaps I was expecting to. So fuel on board is 1,140 kilos, and we started with 4,722. Okay, let's get our speed under control. So it's going to target green dot speed, just over 200 knots, because we don't have any flaps out at current. So with the ILS is just above us now, which is good. That's where we want to be. Probably not helping that we're flying at night. Might just roll the time back a bit. Yeah, that's better. Alright. Let's try it again, shall we? Yeah, the wind is a bit tough tonight. That is going to perhaps cause us a little bit of a problem. That's alright. Give it another go. We really do have to land now because we don't have an awful lot of fuel left. So it seems the plane used a bit more fuel than we were anticipating as well. Alright, gear down, flaps full, auto brake, medium, speed brakes, armed. Land ASAP, 800 kilos of fuel remaining. Yikes. Arm the approach mode. In fact, let's just see how it gets on with the approach mode. See if it can do it. Because we haven't actually tested it, have we, in fairness? It's got the glide slope, it's got the localizer. Nice. Yeah, that's quite the crab, isn't it? Alright. Let's have another go. Fingers and toes crossed, everybody. Got to get down this time. We don't have enough fuel for another go around. Well done, James. That's the spirit. I think maybe I had a bit too much of a crab on the way down last time. And then that crab ended up swaying us off the runway. Which was the majority of the reason why I elected to go around. Right then, iniBuilds. Let's see what you got.
$300. $200.
Bit low. Better than too high though at this point, I suppose.
100. Minimum. 50,
Continue.
40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
One. That'll do. A lot of rudder. A lot of rudder. Okay, bursters are on. That's good. Oh, blimey. That wasn't bad. 219 feet per minute in a crosswind. I'll take that. That was much better. Whew. Not bad, not bad. Right, now where do we go? Actually a bit lost here. Right, we want to come off. Sorry. We want to come off at... We can taxi up this runway, can't we? Yeah. So we can either keep going. Yeah, let's keep going. We can come down here onto Delta. No, that was probably not the ideal situation there, James, with the fuel. So maybe that's something to consider for the next flight. Add a little bit more fuel. Because I feel like that was not ideal. Not ideal at all. It's interesting because I did use the iniBuilds profile within SimBrief. So I did think it would be alright. Don't think I did anything particularly wrong to upset it, but there we go. Well, so what do we conclude then? If we were to compare and contrast this to the fly-by-wire in the Phoenix, I suppose my main things I would say is that this plane felt a little bit on the slippy side. Because even when we were climbing, we almost got ourselves a speeding ticket. And I was surprised to see it overspeed during the climb. I could understand maybe if we were descending and things like that, but while climbing you would think that that'd be a fairly easy point for it to not speed. But yeah, like Rowan, like you say, you can't really compare the Phoenix to this, can you? They're very different animals. I think it's probably fair to maybe compare the fly-by-wire to it, though. Like I say, this does have RNAV capabilities. This does have missed approach capabilities. So yeah, there is that to consider. Whereas the fly-by-wire currently does not have those. It does have VNAV though now, doesn't it, fly-by-wire? But you've got to remember, this is a default aircraft that is free. Which is quite amazing when you think about it. And, you know, while on the PC, you know, us PC simmers, we've got the luxury of having like things like the Phoenix, things like that. Console gamers don't. So this is actually quite a big deal if you're an Xbox simmer, I would say. There we go. One go around later. I thought I started the APU, my bad. One go around later, we arrive in Belfast. But yeah, all things considered, I would say that's a pretty nice flight. Pretty nice flight indeed. Yeah, I would say a little bit on the slippery side. Quite easy to overspeed if you're not careful. But hand flying it felt fine. And there was that thing with the ILS frequency, wasn't there? So normally you would go, or I would go into my flight plan, I would select, like, obviously it's not displayed now because I've landed, but I would select my airport, I would select the runway, I'd select whether it's ILS or whatever it is, and then that auto-populates the RadNav page, but this was blank. And it took a few clicks to actually get it to do what I thought it should be doing as well, which is another slight point of weirdness. But again, it's early days, I'm not angry, it's all fine, you know, I'm not like after any drama, it's early days, things like that, of course they're going to happen. Of course, that is software. Software is so flipping hard, and I say that as someone that used to write software, so I completely sympathise with any developer's, you know, bug or anything. Like if a developer has a bug, I'm not like, damn it, they had a bug, uninstall the software, it's rubbish. It's like, no, let them fix the bug. See if they fix the bug, see if they do it in a timely fashion, see if they communicate. Those are the things you should judge a software developer on. Because everyone gets bugs. It's how you deal with the bugs, how you communicate with the community, how you move it forward. That's what I would do. Do you think they will do the A321? I've got no idea. Aren't we getting an A321 and the A319 from Phoenix as an expansion? That should be pretty cool. Should be pretty cool. Okay, so we've got APU is now running. Engines off. Will GSX unload us?
The boarding requested.
iniBuilds are very good with the updates. Yeah, I found that too. Both with the scenery and with the things like the A300. But yeah, it's I would say that was pretty successful. Whoop. There we go. Integrates with GSX nicely. Look, GSX is playing nicely. The pushback was fine. It's now unloading all the stuff. I would say that's a pretty good result. For a free, this is a free plane, a default free plane. I mean, besides my dodgy attempt at the first landing, that was my fault really. Can't really blame the plane for that, as much as I would love to. As much as I would love to, but yeah, that was just me naffing it up. Yeah, for a free default aircraft, this is good stuff. Again, I keep saying it. It's a really good time to be a simmer. So much good stuff going on. You've got iniBuilds helping out with the default stuff. You've got iniBuilds doing their own thing. You've got iniBuilds doing the scenery. You know, we've got people like Orbex doing scenery. We've got so much scenery going on. We've got all these add-ons, AI, air traffic control. Who would have predicted that like a few years ago. Who'd have predicted we'd have had Microsoft Flight Simulator at all a few years ago? It's good times. We've got the MDG, the 777 coming up, we've got the MD-11 coming up. It's just, you know, it's firing on all cylinders. It's brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. The A380 from fly-by-wire as well. That's the other thing, isn't it? You know, RIP Dubai ATC on VATSIM when that thing launches, because it's just going to be, everyone's going to be in and out of Dubai in an A380 when that launches. But it's great, isn't it? It's just great. It's like, as a PC gamer, and I play other stuff, you know, like Call of Duty, Valorant, CSGO, Halo. I'm a bit of like a first-person shooter kind of guy. Like a bit of Diablo. You know, kind of an old-school PC gamer from years ago, as well as a flight simmer. And there's so much like negativity in the gaming space, it seems, at the moment. You know, like every time Call of Duty comes out, it's almost like every year there's this cycle we go through. Round about now is when the hype starts ramping up. Like the new Call of Duty starts being drip-fed to us a little bit. We know what it's going to be, whether it's going to be like a Black Ops or a new Modern Warfare, whatever it's going to be. Then we get all excited, then they tease us a bit more, then they convince us that somehow they've changed all the things we don't like. The game launches, nobody likes it, and then we're back to being angry again. It's just around and around we go. And I feel like Flight Sim is kind of a bit immune to that in a lot of ways. I mean, you're always going to get people that whinge about stuff, but actually, when you look at what we've got, we're in a really good space at the moment. Really good space. BG3, is that Baldur's Gate 3, James? Is that what you're talking about? But yeah. 8-Bit Gamer says, do you think I'll ever do a long-haul flight on stream? I did one once from Dubai to Heathrow to celebrate 5,000 subs. And once I landed, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that again. Negativity, try Overwatch. Can't do Overwatch. Honestly, me and Overwatch don't agree with each other. It does look fun. I enjoy watching streams of it. And I enjoy watching, or I did enjoy watching the Overwatch League, things like that. But yeah, Overwatch isn't my cup of tea. I'll take CS over Overwatch, I think. But yeah, good times right now in the flight sim community, that's for sure. FS Expo should be cool. That's coming up, isn't it, in a couple of weeks? Did I sleep on that flight? No, I did not. And I didn't even do it on VATSIM. That was before my first VATSIM flight. Yeah, it's just so boring. I don't know how long-haul pilots do it. I really don't. Because it's funny, you almost, to me anyway, as someone that's not a pilot, it almost seems like it's a promotion to move up from like easyJet to say you move on to a 777 and start doing long-haul, or an A330 and start doing long-haul. I think I would hate that. It would just be so dull. Just those big, long cruises of nothing. At least if you're flying for easyJet or Ryanair, you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down. You're flying to these incredible locations all across Europe. Greek islands, Spain, Ibiza. All these amazing destinations. Or you could just be sat over the Atlantic for 6 hours. So yeah, I know which I would choose. But I'm not a real pilot, so what would I know? I mean, even with VATSIM now, I suppose it would maybe liven it up a little bit, but once you're in cruise, you don't often get told to do a huge amount on VATSIM. I find once you go through a centre, it's kind of like radio contact confirmed, and then that's it, you know? I would understand real-life pilots, but those who do it in the sim are crazy. Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, Thomas. It's not something I would find a lot of fun in. I really enjoyed tonight's flight. It's perfect. It's just the right amount of time. What some people would consider the boring bit in the middle, the cruise, is great because I get to have a chat to you guys because there's less workload. It's just the right amount. Whereas if I had another 6 hours of cruise, I'd be like, yeah. I don't know. I can't quite fathom it somehow. I don't see what the appeal is for those super long haul ones. I mean, maybe I could see starting a flight off this time of night, going to bed and waking up in the morning and finishing off, maybe, but it seems like a waste of electricity. Anyway. The only long haul I do is APO2 for virtual cache or XP. Chuck the flight up at 9 AM, go for a day out do some chores, go on holiday. Absolutely has to then land. Yeah, yeah. Do I use a landing rate monitor? If so, what is it? So Jack, I don't know if are you referring to the thing that popped up in the middle at the bottom as we landed, the little blue box. If you are, that is New Sky. In fact, now's probably a good time to talk to you about New Sky. So New Sky is a system for running a virtual airline, and I know we're in an easyJet livery, but technically I was flying for my own virtual airline, AirNOTT, tonight, earning a bit of money for it on New Sky. The only reason we're in an easyJet livery is because this is a brand new plane and I haven't yet made my livery for it. So, but those of you that are interested in flying on New Sky, if you've got a New Sky account, or if you want to get a New Sky account, you can look us up on there. There should be a link in the video description of where to find us on New Sky, and you can apply to join. All I ask is that you have a rating over 8.0, because that basically means that you know what you're up to, vaguely. If you're below that, then obviously I'm never say never, but if you can get yourself above 8, then you'll be more than welcome to join us. Because for every flight that each pilot does, you get a score. In fact, let's look at the score. What did I get? What did we get? Well, that's weird. It says I abandoned the flight when I didn't. I did not abandon that flight. I flew the flight. What are you talking about? Okay, well I can't show you. No, I don't have the scenery for Belfast. Oh, Europe, what are you playing at, mate? Never mind. If you wind it back, we did a go around, so you can check out that. But Jack, yeah, it was New Sky that popped up at the bottom, and how it works is you can do a scheduled flight. So I've got a schedule of flights. Let me see if I can show you a minute. Hold the line. I don't know why it thinks I cancelled that flight. I totally did not. Right, let me show you what's going on over here. I'll show you New Sky. So this is New Sky, and if you want to do a flight on New Sky, you can do a free flight, either passenger or cargo, or you can do a scheduled flight. So scheduled flights earn your virtual airline, whichever one you're flying for, will earn them more money. So it's always preferable to do a scheduled flight. So let's do scheduled passenger flight. Obviously I'm only signed up to my own airline. New Sky Academy is like an airline you can fly for to practice, and they don't judge you, basically. It's just where you can practice and get used to using it without fear of getting a bad score. So click on AirNOTT, and you can see this is the roster for today. So as the owner of the airline, I have to create the routes. I also have to create all the aircraft and put them in various airports for them to be flown. Because, for example, we've got a flight here, EGKK Gatwick to EGPH Edinburgh. So these are all the planes that are available now at Gatwick. So we've got 747, an A330-900, 737 and an A320. Now there's also the flight back from Edinburgh to Gatwick. So if somebody doesn't fly one of these planes up to Edinburgh, the return leg will not be available unless there's one already there. Just trying to see if there is. Yeah, EGPH, Edinburgh to Gatwick, no aircraft available. So unless somebody flies that flight today and leaves one of these planes up in Edinburgh, that plane, whichever one is flown up there, will become available for the flight back. So it's kind of cool. So you have to actually lease aircraft, and it all comes out of like your money. Or obviously it's all pretend. And it's not like you run out of money. I did think maybe it'd be like almost like Transport Tycoon, where you have like an actual amount of money in the bank, but it doesn't work like that. It ranks you based on your profitability on a day-by-day basis and over various time periods. And I think the idea is that you'll compete with all the other airlines, so who's the most profitable. There isn't really a concept of money in the bank, it's just profitability. Like, the plane's running cost today was X, your ticket sales were Y, your profit was Z. But obviously you can't just put in loads of routes, because the temptation when I first joined was, oh great, I'll just put in hundreds of airports, hundreds of routes, because every day you have a cost for each airport and each route. So for example, today, Gatwick to Gibraltar, obviously Gibraltar are expecting us, therefore they're going to charge us whether we turn up or not, you know, an amount of money. So you can't have loads and loads of routes that don't get flown, because that'll obviously affect your profitability. Every plane that you lease costs you money, so it needs to be flying to be turning a profit. So I think I've got like 4 or 5 different A320s, 6 or 7 737s that are all at various locations. Like someone said to me the other day, can you start some routes out of Heathrow? And it's like, that's fine. However, those routes, A, need to be flown, so we don't get loads of charges from all the airports that we're flying to and from. Second of all, I'm going to need to lease some aircraft that live at Heathrow to service those routes, and if they don't get flown, they're going to get costed. A cost will be applied every day for those. So it's, you need to sort of grow it out quite carefully, and as the airline grows, I guess it's kind of on me to scale the planes and the routes that we have available as well. But yeah, you can just choose a route, and then say when you're going to be off the blocks, so your departure time, and if you're, I think if you're 15 minutes either side of it, you're okay, but you'll get fines if you're late, things like that. If there's nothing on the schedule that appeals to you, or you just want to fly, you know, obviously these are all European routes, let's say you want to fly in America, that's fine, go back and do a free flight, and then you can choose to do it as AirNOTT. Give yourself a flight number, say where you're going from, say where you're going to, choose an aircraft, and then you can just do a free flight. You go wherever you want in the world. You could do like Sydney to Melbourne in Australia, and AirNOTT would still earn some money for that, albeit not as much because it's not a scheduled flight, but it's still profitable, and it's still, I'd be glad you did it, put it that way, even if it's a free flight. I'm not going to cry if it's not a scheduled flight. But yeah, that's New Sky, and what it does, every flight you get a rating out of 10, and then all of those ratings go together to give your airline an overall rating, so they all sort of merge together. And obviously if we let someone in that's got like a 4 out of 10 rating, that probably means they're not flying very well, and they're going to drag our score down against everyone else. So that's what it is. For those of you that are interested, you're more than welcome to join us. If not, I totally understand. It's not for everybody. Anyway folks, it's getting late, 20 past 10, I'm getting tired. It's been a long day. I've had a sick child to deal with today, so it's always taxing. But tomorrow's another day. Thank you all so much for coming. I hope you've enjoyed the flight. I certainly have. It's been a great experience flying this iniBuilds plane. Massive thanks to iniBuilds for doing this for the community, and you know, giving us a nice default aircraft, especially those on console. I think that's a big deal for the console flyers. I really do. It's easy as PC players to be like, well, I don't play on console, so I don't care. So, well, actually, a lot of people do, and it's a big deal that iniBuilds have done this. So, good times indeed. Thank you all very much indeed for coming. Hopefully, I'll see you next time, and until the next time, take the very best care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Cheers.